I'm going to go ride Storybook Land and see the new Tangled scene that's in there. Come along with me. When Disneyland opened, this was called Canal Boats of the World, and you would ride through on European canal boats. You were supposed to see miniature buildings and cities of the world, but due to time and money constraints, it was just a narrated boat ride through muddy banks and barren hills. The narration just talked about Disneyland and about the miniature landmarks that would soon be here. It closed after just 2 months, and it would reopen in 1956, very much as it is today, as the Storybook Land Canal Boats. First, we passed through Monstro the whale from Pinocchio. And if you look up, you'll see it's darkened from the fire that Pinocchio lit when he and Geppetto were trapped inside. It's Christmas time at Disneyland right now, and what a lot of people don't know is that every year this attraction gets a holiday transformation. There's a miniature signpost with directional signs, and I don't know if you could see the bottom one says Big Bad Wolf. Here, let me pause it. I have one of those at home, which I showed in a previous video. To keep Storybook Land always looking fresh, over the years things are refurbished and sometimes replaced, like that sign. And there's the Big Bad Wolf's lair. A lot of imagination had to go into the scenery because things like the wolf's home and the upcoming Alice in Wonderland village were never seen in the movies, so they had to be designed just for the ride. There's one of the Three Little Pigs homes. This one is made of wolf-proof bricks and is decorated for Christmas. I've got an old Storybook Land narration script from 1980, and in it, it says for this point, "Some girls say, 'Hear the little pigs singing inside?'" And you can hear them singing, but that "some girls say" is because before 1995, only girls did the narration here. It was the opposite of the Jungle Cruise, which only had male skippers. The Alice in Wonderland village is coming up, and again, most of this village had to be designed just for this attraction because that church, that water wheel, and Alice's house don't even appear in the movie. My friend, the late Harriet Burns, worked on so many of the details of Storybook Land, including the real stained glass window made with lead for Alice's church. So many details are here. The church even has a little cemetery next to it, but you have to look very carefully to see it. There's Alice's house, which is quite festive with Christmas decorations right now. This area they say is London Park, and there's a beautiful little gold Peter Pan statue on the pathway there. I'm not sure why they say this is London Park, because there is no real London Park, but there is Kensington Gardens in London, where the original Peter Pan stories took place, and there is a statue of Peter Pan there. You can watch my video that I did in London at Kensington Gardens. The miniature lampposts right now have little Christmas wreaths on them, and there's garland on the bridge. Up ahead is the city of Agrabah from Aladdin, which was added in 1994. Now before this was Agrabah, it was the homes of Mr. Toad, Ratty, and Mr. Mole, 3 characters from The Wind in the Willows, Disney's animated short starring Mr. Toad. Due to public outcry, Toad Hall returned along with Mr. Mole's house, but in a different location. I'll show you that when we get to it. As I mentioned, I was friends with Harriet Burns, and she worked on Disneyland right from the start. She worked in what was called the model shop, and with the team that built all the original scale models of all the upcoming attractions, restaurants, shops, even Sleeping Beauty Castle. Those scale models were one of the early steps in the design process. They also did all the miniatures for Storybook Land. Harriet told me that Walt loved visiting the model shop because he loved both collecting and building miniatures as a hobby, and she said that's why there was such special attention given to detail in Storybook Land. You know, it's often been said that Storybook Land was one of Walt's favorite attractions. Coming up is the Cave of Wonders from Aladdin. In the Disneyland Paris version, you enter the Cave of Wonders through the elaborate tiger head like in the movie, but they don't have the big Monstro that you go through like we have here. Be sure to watch my video where I did a ride-through of Le Pays des Contes de Fées, their Storybook Land. You know, back in the 1980 script that I have, it says that this was the same dark cave that the Wicked Witch went through when she was looking for Snow White. I don't know if they realized that the Wicked Witch was from The Wizard of Oz. Snow White had the evil queen that disguised herself as an old hag. There's the dwarf's cottage, and there's also a wishing well out front, and the dwarf's mine is way at the back left. You know, when they were creating Storybook Land, some of the Imagineers came out here with flat cutouts of the buildings, including this cottage from Snow White, to make sure that the scale was okay and to get an idea of what it might look like before actually creating the full 3D versions. I did a video with some of the photos that Imagineer Stan Jolly had of those tests. Again, you need to look carefully, but the clock on Cinderella's castle is pointing to 12 o'clock, so the coach coming down the hill is just in the in-between stage between coach and changing back to a pumpkin. It still amazes me that all those miniature trees and all the miniature plants throughout this attraction are real. And speaking of that, it's a pretty unique live garden at the left. It was inspired by Disney's 1933 animated short called Lullabyland. When a baby falls asleep, he dreams of a whimsical world where pacifiers, rattles, and cans of baby powder grow on trees, and the land is made up of a giant patchwork quilt. Some early concept art of Storybook Land had the head and feet of a giant to the left and right of the quilt so that it would look like the quilt was covering him. There's the new tower from Tangled. Keep an eye out because there's really little wanted posters of Flynn, and just like in the movie, they just can't seem to get his nose right. Even with these newest additions, they're still paying such great attention to the smallest details. There's Flynn and Rapunzel's boat. Can you see the lantern inside? And it's even lit up. Here's those Wind in the Willows houses that were relocated from the Agrabah location. There's Mr. Mole's very decorated home. And here's Toad Hall. This building has a full-size version in Disneyland. Toad Hall is the entrance to the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride attraction. Toad's car is parked right to the right of the mansion there. It's just like the ones you ride in the attraction. In 2015, Arrendale from Frozen was brought to Storybook Land, replacing the windmills from the animated silly symphony, The Old Mill. Here's a picture I took of that. The Old Mill was released in 1937, and it won the Academy Award for Best Cartoon Short Subject. This scene actually fit in perfectly because the snow-capped mountains of Arrendale perfectly complement the snowy mountains of Pinocchio's village, which have been here from the start. This is one of the most elaborate scenes in Storybook Land, complete with miniature cobblestone streets, and it used to serve as the finale in the ride before the additions up ahead. Next to Geppetto's workshop is the Blue Whale Inn. That artwork's really cute. There's a church in the village here, and that 1980 script read, "Some say that it's Pinocchio himself who rings the bell." The artwork on the left of the church depicts the Bible story known as the miraculous catch of fish. While there's a lot to see in Pinocchio's village, be sure to look back to the left because it's easy to miss the wandering Oaken's trading post. In 1994, this scene from The Little Mermaid was added, complete with Prince Eric's ship. And speaking of ships, when Storybook Land had its 1956 grand opening, there was a christening during the ceremony. Traditionally, ships are christened by breaking a bottle of champagne on the bow. But being a ride that was sure to delight not just the adults, but the whole family, milk was poured over the boat. Today, that waterfall has Triton's kingdom behind it, but before that, there was nothing behind the water, and the girl narrator would say it's Never Neverland. We call it that because we never take you there. I never knew why they called it Never Neverland like the original stage production, because in Disney's version of Peter Pan, it's just Neverland. Well, thanks for watching, and please like this video, and please subscribe to this channel because I'd hate to never see you again.